गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. See, we have a upside down thinking about ourselves. And what is that? That we think we are in the world. We think we are inside this body. We think we are alive because of breath. We think that the self, the Atma, is inside this body. We think that the Lord, the divine principle, is somewhere far away. And in this way, living in these wrong notions, yet pursuing spirituality, we continue. And the fact is that exactly opposite is the truth. Until and unless these notions, these wrong notions, wrong conclusions about life, about yourself, about the world, about the Lord, until and unless these wrong conclusions are not eradicated from our mind, till then we are not progressing spiritually. See? Just as if you go to the Derwent River in Tasmania, in Hobart, I think it is called the Derwent River. If you get up in the morning, you will see many times it's called the snake. And all along the river, all the way to the sea, you will see the smoke. You will see the cloud or the fog on the river. What is happening? So if you are living in the hill, because both sides are hills only, and from the house you look down from the window, you will not see the water. What do you see? You see the fog. So what has happened? The water is covered by the fog, and therefore you are not able to see the water. Can the fog appear without water? No. So fog is also nothing but water particles, and the water is also water, H2O, but itself appearing in a different form, a grossified form or a lighter form, and covering it. Take another way. This was lighter. Take another way. Water becoming crystallized as ice. You can't see water. You can see only the form of the ice cube. So you give it a name ice. But does it mean that the water is not there? Water is there. But it is covered. It is hidden. In both cases. In that case, something finer than water was covering the water, and in the case of the cube, ice cube, something grosser was covering the water being in the liquid state. Now, exactly the same way, our desires for the world are covering our essential nature. If you want to break it down, you can say that the forms of the world are covering the senses. The various stimuli of the world are covering the senses. The senses are covering the mind. And mind is covering the intellect. So variety out there in the world, covering the senses. Only five. Five sense, different types of stimuli, and our attraction or attachment to it, thinking that they are real, giving them validity, is covering the mind. Mind which is irrational, mind which has likes and dislikes, is covering the clarity of the intellect. See? And the intellect, in its turn, where the I appears, it is covering, by the thought I, it is covering the conscious principle. See? But in all these coverings, what is happening? The same material is appearing as the many, and it has grossified. From the self alone came the mind. From the mind came the mind and intellect. From the same self came the breath. From the same self came the body. From the same self came the names and forms. Grossification. So this wrong or inverted thinking that we have to know the self must be replaced by that the self I am, and from me this entire universe, the entire sheaths, they have emanated from me. How? Let the Lord reveal. But you keep taking this position. How do you take a position? You get married and you start behaving like a wife. Nothing has happened. All you have put is a ring. How come suddenly your mindset changes? In Australia, Singapore, you follow the road rules. The moment you land in India, you don't follow the rules. What changes? See, outside the house you behave. Inside the house, outside the house you are a slave of the system. Inside the house you are the boss. What changes? It's just a mindset. So start accepting that we are the source. We are the source from which meaning not a collective we, but it is the self. Self is the source. Atma is the source. The spirit is the source from which everything has emanated. And that will be helpful for us as a seeker. This is the point we have to reach. Yes, you do. I'm not the body, I'm not the breath, I'm not the mind, I'm not the intellect, I am the Atma. That is, we have done enough of that now. Now come to Anvay. Anvay means inclusivity. And inclusivity is not collecting things and becoming inclusive. No, we are coming to the source. And that source alone is everything. Purnamada Purnamidam. As if appearing as the variety, the multitude. So in today's meditation, you can take this point and again reiterate to yourself that we are the source. Just like water itself becomes the ocean, it becomes the wave, it becomes the ice, it becomes the tide, it becomes the tsunami. Same way, the self alone, with the help of its potential, alone becomes the intellect, the mind, the breath, the body, the senses, and don't stop, and the entire universe. In other words, it itself becomes the waking, dream, sleep, etc. So, and then what conclusion are you going to come? No conclusion. That's it. Nothing more to be said. Just accept that. Just accept it. And it's okay if there are many unanswered questions, because questions are of the mind. What position are you taking? That of the spirit, that of the consciousness, that of the pure consciousness, which is the source. So let mind ask questions, pacify. Okay, when the time is right, you will understand. Manana, later. Ask that question later. Right now, be silent. Or keep taking position. This is why we have to take that position in spite of the sense, the world, in spite of the senses, in spite of the mind and intellect. We have to take that position because that is our natural position. So close your eyes, keep your back, neck and head in a straight line, a happy disposition. Because when we are happy, that time there are no desires in our mind. And therefore, be the source. Don't seek the source.